So today, Casey and I are going to talk about how to have the best digital presence in the game and talk about branding and consistency, and some tips and tricks that we have. So as we talk about consistency, definitely the number one thing about branding and keeping your presence across the platforms that you use, to the consumer's eye is consistency and branding. So those are the two main topics that we're going to talk about. Consistency is really all about like making sure you are on social platforms every day. Maybe not posting every day, maybe you post every other day, but having a presence by commenting on other people's posts or interacting with what people are talking about. If you're in Facebook groups, make sure to be commenting on those people's posts also, because then once you start interacting with other people's posts, one, you're in their timeline, yours will become more apparent just from their eye of seeing you. But also, you'll pop up more often because you are connecting with them. Casey, you want to say anything about
that? And also, like Reese was saying, also the Facebook algorithms also know when you are doing that. So when you're interacting more, it's going to have you and you're going to be visible to other people. Your comments will show to other people more often. Your name will show to people more often. So consistency is definitely the key. But also a consistent message, a consistent branding, which other stuff we'll go into in the next slide. So this slide is great because this talks about brand, but brand means so many things to so many different people. And it consists of marketing, advertising, logos, design, what your brand identity is, what the value of your business is, and what you bring as a realtor and how you stand out from other people, and also your strategy. So for instance, marketing, a lot of people will say, what's the difference between marketing and advertising? Marketing is where you are promoting yourself and the strategy, you're promoting yourself to the consumer. And advertising is really how you are doing it and how it's usually paid. So how you are marketing yourself to the consumer. Logo design, identity. Reese, do you want to talk about that and how we do that?
So logo design and identity is all about you choosing something that I know Casey agrees too, is choosing what color scheme that goes with your logo. And your logo doesn't have to be anything crazy. If you see the logo that the transaction coordination team uses, I made that on command, like nothing crazy, super easy. And I can show you that logo if you're looking for something more extreme. The great thing is that if you don't think you're going to be able to really put time in, or maybe you don't have that kind of aspect of your business completely all put together where you could just create it on your own, we do have Michael Lewis Marketing as well. So if you go to All in KW and you go to marketing and you click on your office, if you're in Ridgewood and Tenafly, they do have a set up a custom branding appointment. And you can pay Michael Lewis Marketing to do your entire branding package. So if you want a brand box package 1, it's a logo design, email signature, and 2-sided business card. Package 2 is an email signature and business card. Or you can ask for, individual, maybe you just want a logo design, it's $285. Now, $285, depending on where you're at in your business or what your marketing, allotted amount is for the year, may be a little much. So that's why I'm telling you it's super simple to create one, and I can show you how to do that in command. Like we said, it's not about like how pristine or perfect it looks. It's about making sure that your brand comes across on all your platforms, on everything you're posting, your marketing, all of that. So logo is huge. And identity, you would want to incorporate those colors. So say that your logo is red. Maybe you want to do red, black, and white, and gray, or choose certain colors, like for example, Ivanove Group Diana Ivanov, she uses blue. So you can see in a lot of her posts, the main color of the design is blue, maybe not the photo, but maybe the writing on the photo, or it's blue. I think hers are blue, gray, and black. She uses those colors a lot, and white. You know, David Radney, he might not be doing real estate at the moment, but his push, every push you see has that yellow, has that gray, has that black. So using those colors consistently, and we will show you a few examples later on other people's social media platforms, to show you how they incorporate their logo and their design throughout their process. So something I'm going to do is show you how you can make that identity and that logo and those designs in Command. So you would go to Command and you would go to Designs. And you would click in the top right. You might be blocking it with the videos. You would click Create Design, and you would go to Social. Now that's if you want to start, you know, say just listed or a social post. To get your colors in order and see how you can add your branding to Command to help you, you know, when make it a little easier to create those designs, go to import designs, and it's going to bring you into the back end of Command Designs. And it's going to bring you to your designs. You don't want to focus on that at the moment. What you want to do is go to the top where it says templates, my designs. You're going to click assets. And in here, you can actually create a complete color palette. So I think this is huge. What you can do is, obviously, this is my main palette. You can have multiples. So maybe when you are posting in certain groups, maybe you want to use those colors. So like, say, for example, Midland Park is the color, not of the town, but of the school is green, white, and black. So maybe you want to add that. Or if you participate in or belong to a certain community group and you want to make sure you have those colors so that when you're posting about that, you can incorporate those colors as well. Like I said, you can have more than one color palette. What you would do is I'll just create a new color palette, and I can click the three dots and click rename. So I'm going to say KW, and I can click the plus button, and it's going to give me the entire color wheel for every color. Now, obviously, it's going to be a little hard to get that exact color of the color you make your logo. So what you're going to do is you would just come in here and just create the new color palette to have it in here. And I'll show you how to easily pull the exact colors from your logo and add them to here so that when you're doing a design, which we'll also go through, you can use those exact colors and everything will be color coordinated throughout all of your platforms. You can also upload images. So maybe you have a town shot you like to use, or certain, I know that some agents take their own stock photos, you know, shaking hands or at a coffee shop or those type of photos, maybe in front of a house. You can add all those images in here. And again, when we go to designs, I'll show you where this will all populate. Text, I think this is great. As you can see, I have my name, my email, the phone number, the office website, the company name, and you would just click create new field. And you can actually choose. And if you choose one of these, it'll pull directly from your marketing profile. But if you scroll down, you can click new text. And what you could do is do your entire email signature, for example, so that if you are adding that to the bottom of a design, you only have to click add that entire text and you won't have to do anything. If you want to change the font, you would do that in the design. But let's say I do my entire Realtor associate and the office phone number, and we'll add in Keller Williams Village Square Realty, and I'm going to click save. Or again, if you have a slogan, that's another great thing you want to be adding into here. Logos, like I said, obviously I just have the office logos in here, which you can also add. They're all on the website as well. But when you create your own logo, we'll want to make sure to upload that here too. Elements, usually there's nothing that you would need for elements. Some people will put like maybe boxes and stuff, but elements, they have that in designs. There's nothing really you need in there. Video, I don't recommend this either. It's not really necessary because you can just upload your video directly to your social post. Files, again, these three bottom ones, I don't usually have anything go in here. I do recommend doing the colors, images, text, and logo as well. So any questions on anything in here before I show you how we can create that logo?
Again, these are assets that you're adding in here for your templates, not just for social, but for anything that you use through command. So if you're creating a flyer set or e-blast, these will be, you'll use your template and your own assets for your branding.
And this will just make your life 10 times easier when you go to create that social post or that flyer, that there's a lot less work that you have to type or reorganize or make sure that the colors work. So what I'm going to do is go to templates now. And this is the same thing as if you were to click that create design. This will just give me everything, including print and social. So if you go to social, just for example, before we go to create that design, you can see that when you go in here, if you haven't been in here a while, they did change it a little, just so that you do know that. They made it so that something that we'll talk about in another class, and we'll go through the class list before we let you guys go, so you guys can see all the social classes we'll be having in October. Is holidays is now by month. So this is definitely a great place to get that free content, which we are doing a class on that as well. But let's say that we went into let's say we just listed something. If you really wanted to, you could create the same design in Square for Instagram and also use that exact template design, but obviously it's going to fit to stories for stories. So the great thing is once you create these templates that have your branding on them, I always recommend doing like maybe 5 different versions of just listed, just sold, of each category that maybe you're updating your consumer on your listings, so that you can just copy them and put the new photo in, the new address, and you have those 5 consistent posts so that they're all branded. Again, the whole point is that we want to make sure that to the consumer, it is, when they see it, it's not just that they're reading the post, they know it's yours because of your branding. So for this one, because we're just doing the logo, I'm just going to choose a random square one because we're just going to clear it completely. You can start from scratch, but then it asks you for like the dimensions and stuff. So I personally think it's just easiest just to choose a random square template in here. So I'm going to click use. And what you can do is if you want to delete the whole thing, you just drag across the whole design and click delete on your keyboard. And now it's blank. So let's say I want to create a logo. Something I think is great is in text. You can go to banners and get just an idea of layout wise. Maybe you're going to do a circle. Maybe you like this little square, maybe not this top part. So this can give you an idea of how you want your logo laid out. But again, this side, so in images, you can see under my assets, I have my headshot here. Under logos, I have all the offices logos. So that's why you want to be adding that. And under text, if you go back to my assets, you can see I have my information here. Everything is here for me just to click on to automatically add it into the design. So banners, let's say that I want to do, maybe I want my business to be my initials. So I'm thinking I kind of like this post, just the way that the circle is. Someone have a question? Okay. So I just like the way that this is. And again, you don't want to make it the whole square, but you can make it larger because again, we're going to be downloading this as your logo. If you are choosing the banner, you do want to make sure to click this little, almost looks like a paper clip, just to group it so you can delete. I'm not really a fan of this text, so I'm going to get rid of that. And I think my favorite color is blue. So I'm going to choose a blue color that I want to use. So let's just go with this bright blue. Why not? And the great thing about KW is that you get to have your own branding. So you can make this whatever you would like to make it. Maybe the middle one, I want to do like a light gray. And again, now, if I'm going to be using these colors, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this logo and I am going to go to any of the colors and go to library colors. And again, I can choose my KW palette. And what I'm going to do is click the add button and it'll load. And now if we go back to that KW template, that blue is there. So the great thing is that when you're creating your logo, you can add those colors. So I'll show you how to do that again. So let's just say template colors. We wanted this gray. So what we're going to do is go to that library color, KW, and just click the plus button. It's automatically going to add that color to your palette. So that now when we go to add the text, so like I said, I think I want to have mine be my name. So I'm just going to go to regular text and just choose the title one so that I can manipulate it how I want. And I am going to change it to be centered. And I'm just going to do RC and do real estate underneath. But the underneath one, maybe I want a little smaller. So again, maybe I want this to be my color. I'm going to go to the color button and we have my library colors open and I can change that to the blue. Now, again, you can change the font as much as you want. I'm just going to play around so that we can actually pretend that we're making a real logo, kind of like that one. So I'm going to do that and move it up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the subtitle font so that it's a little smaller. And I'm going to make sure that is centered as well. And we are going to choose that Caslon grad. And what I'm going to do is usually not every single one. So you might want to choose one that has multiple, like the Allegra one, you can choose like thinner font so that it's not all like that. And I'm just going to make this real estate. And I want that to be like this. And for this one, maybe I want to use that gray color and maybe it's not this exact color because that might not show up perfectly. But what I can do is, again, play around with it until I find a color that I like. And if I want to add that to the palette, I just click add. So look, obviously, you're going to want to think more about your branding. This is just, more for fun and to show you how to do it. But now we have my logo. I think it's a great logo. Doesn't take much. So even if your logo is just your name and real estate, it's still good to have a little piece that you add to your social posting. So what you can do is download. And what I'm going to do is do a PNG. And the reason I'm choosing PNG is because I can click transparent background. And what that will do is allow my logo to not have the white in the background. Again, don't forget, just a side note, you don't want to exit this page until the preparing says download ready, download done. It kind of switches on the day, but as long as it says it's downloaded, you're good. So that's how you would create the color and your logo within Command. And now I'll show you how you can create that template so that you can, again, make your life a lot easier, that you just have a system. And like we said, we're going to talk about strategy in a little too, of when I get a new listing, this is exactly what I'm doing. I pick from a template. I'm using these colors. Then there's no stressing about, does this look good? Does this not look good? Spend time on your templates because it's going to make your life easier in the long end. So again, if I'm still in designs, I can just click home and we're going to add that logo to my assets. So again, I'm going to click assets. We're going to go to logos. And now you can see also my color palette is there. And if you choose certain fonts, so again, in that logo, I use certain fonts, you can upload fonts. Maybe if, say, for example, Michael Lewis creates your logo and they use a certain font, you can choose that font and ask them for the file to be able to upload to Command so that your writing and your posts also are matching. So logo, I'm going to upload, and I'm going to click on my device and do video tour because I forgot to rename it, and upload my one file. And now you can see it's transparent and my logo's there. So now we're going to go back to templates. We're going to do a just listed social post, and I'm going to choose square. And let's just say I'm going to do this one. And again, you would rename it just listed template because you can make copies of all your designs when you're in My Designs. And it's good to know which one is the original template so that if you ever want to change it, you're changing the template and you don't have to remember like an address that you decided to change it on. So again, my colors are dark gray, light gray, and blue and white. So what I'm going to do is change this background color to gray. And we're going to do a dark gray. And maybe I want to change the just listed to that blue. Again, we go into library colors, my KW palette, change that. And then what I'm going to do is add my logo, and you just click on the image and we can put that in here. Again, obviously, even though I did choose a dark gray, you can still relatively see my logo. So even if you choose light gray, still use that whole entire scheme of colors. Like that's still within your branding and your, your entire logo, everything. So maybe I just need to make this a little darker, and you can totally do that. And now you can see it stands out a little better, but it's still along the lines of your branding scheme. So again, as you know, in designs, you would be able to go to the KWLS to pull your own photos, or something I highly recommend as soon as you get the photos, create all your social posts. Even if you're not listing it until like next week, it'll make your life so much easier just to have these done. And you could even schedule them to go out for when it's listed. I think part of a strategy is having everything be simpler for you, because I know when you get a listing live, sometimes depending on the client can be really stressful. So having all this stuff already ready, all your captions written out, all of that can make a huge difference on not feeling overwhelmed when it is time to list.
And just like Reese is doing now, just having your templates ready for just listed, just sold, a few others that we'll go through in other classes for, fluff, some other things that you can add in between your listings. But just having those templates ready so that you can quickly add the photo and just edit it as you need is so helpful.
And again, some of the stuff here, we don't really use like square footage. Sometimes people don't really put that in New Jersey in there unless, maybe it's a construction and, maybe it's not completely built out. Then I usually recommend, but most people, it's not like the home price is based on the square footage per se. But again, keep this template photo and keep this template address so that that that's the, not, again, this is a template. It's not for a specific listing. And again, we're going to change this font to the fonts that I used previously. So I use the Caslon. And again, different fonts are different sizes. So maybe you need to move this up a little. Maybe we're going to move the photo over a little, make this, maybe we want this centered. Again, spend time on your templates because it'll make a difference for you in the long run. And maybe we want this centered. Like we're just saying, this is a perfect example of like how this is going to help you. Maybe you want this gray part to be half the screen. That's fine too. So it's totally up to you. Spending time on your branding will make a huge difference in the long run, for you to have a perfect to you strategy, what makes sense to you. So again, I'm just going to save this. Yep.
Why we are putting not Carrie Williams logo? We are putting RC logo.
So this logo is what I created for my branding. So if you are posting on just your Facebook business page, if the logo is in your cover photo, you actually don't have to add the office logo to every post. But if you know you're going to post this on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, then yes, you would want to add the logo. And the great thing is every office has the logo in different color formats. So for this one, the best one is probably the all white one. So for example, if we were to put the KW Village Square logo in, I would just move this around and we would put that logo in there underneath.
But as we given a test, right? They are saying a real estate logo name's supposed to be there all the time.
Yeah, so like I was saying, if you just focus on Facebook and you're posting on your business page, because if you have the logo in your cover photo, legally, you don't need to also add it to every post. But again, if you know you're going to be posting on different platforms as well, then make sure in your template to have that logo. Some people only do Facebook, some people do different platforms. So like you said, you want to just add that logo as well. Again, this was just an example on how to set up your branding. So yes, you would want to add the office logo too.
Thank you.
Reese,
Yep.
how are you keeping the different assets in, one on top of the other? Which, how do you know what assets are going to be on top of another asset? For example, the picture is on top of the gray. How do you, suppose I wanted the gray on top of the picture, how could I change that?
So you mean like this background box?
Yeah,
So that's just part of the template. You could, if you want to be the whole back be gray, if you wanted to move it over, you just play around. And that's more, there are definitely check the October schedule is fully complete for October. So definitely check that out for the Design 101 class too.
okay, no, I think what I'm saying is, suppose I wanted, you see how the picture is on top of the gray?
Yep.
How do you do that? How do you make it? Suppose I wanted the gray on top of the picture. I never would, but let's suppose I did. How could I get the gray on top of the picture?
So this was a template. So that's why it was like that. If you wanted the gray on top of the photo, again, this is something you would learn in Design 101. You would
Yeah.
click arrange and you can click, send forward, and then it would be on top of the photo.
Ah, okay, very good. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. So that is how you can create, again, you can do this all in Command. You don't need to pay someone, $285, or, you could get someone, from Fiverr or Upworks too, but you really don't have to make it extravagant. And if you need some help, definitely let me know. But you definitely can create your logo designs and identity all within Command. I would maybe, if you plan on doing this, block maybe 2 hours on a day that maybe you'll be more free, and really focus on it. And if you have any trouble, obviously you can reach out to me or Casey too, if you want some extra help on just understanding everything. So Casey, you want to touch a little bit about trust value, and then we can go into strategy?
Sure, yes. So one of the elements of brand is obviously trust. And as a real estate agent, obviously that's very important. You want to make sure you are with your social platforms, with the messages that you are, giving and promoting, that you are inspiring trust. So whether that's a testimonial that you put on your social, or if you're promoting someone else's business, or if you are, showcasing a just sold and telling a little story about your clients and their property, you want to make sure you're always telling a little bit of story that promotes trust within you. Along with value and strategy too, you want to think about what makes you different from other realtors. What are those 1 or 2 things that sets you apart? With strategy, you want to focus on what are the top platforms, and we go through this on the next slide. What are the top platforms that you want to focus on social? Obviously, you can't, focus on everything. It's too much to say. You want to focus on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. That's a lot. So I usually say to recommend focus on top 2. Who is your target group? What channels are they on? Are they on Facebook? Or are they a younger audience, maybe more on TikTok? So it's really thinking, strategy is really thinking about some of those things and making sure that your brand is on those platforms. You could go to the next slide, Reese. So what you do and say, you want to really make sure that your brand gives a feeling and makes people feel a certain way. So especially in real estate, you see people, posting a lot of the same types of posts all the time, right? So you want to make sure you're adding a little bit of value and doing something a little bit different. Maybe a little something authentic, maybe some story, like I just said, a story about these owners are from, New York, and they have been searching for 9 months. Those are things that you can do in the copy of social. So that's not necessarily putting it in design, but it's adding those little touches to make people feel and make people have a connection, an emotional connection with your brand. Reese, if you want to go to the next. So top social platforms. So we touched upon this, but the top social platforms right now are Facebook. I think TikTok is number 2, Instagram, and surprisingly LinkedIn. But you really want to be on the platforms that your consumer is on. So depending on who your target group is, you want to be on those platforms. So again, an older audience, maybe focus on Facebook. A younger audience, TikTok, Instagram. LinkedIn is very popular also because people, you might have a bigger business and networking. That's great referral. So it's really about focusing and strategizing where your target group and where your consumers are. So don't focus on everything for social. You don't have to be everywhere, but focus on your top 2. Pinterest is another one, Reese, that we spoke about. We could go on to the next 2 slides. We have a few good examples of Instagram.
So again, with your top platforms, like if you don't have a platform, like don't think that you need to be on it. So if you don't have an Instagram, but your audience is on Facebook, then stick with that audience. It's not that you have to be on all of these platforms. Definitely each platform has a different demographic, algorithm, all of that, with Instagram's algorithm, it changes, I feel like, all the time. So it's more just about, like we talked about, consistency and branding than getting new clients. Facebook, you might actually get people that are more interested because there is that marketplace. People will follow real estate agents to see what's new on the market. Instagram, maybe a little, but from what I've seen from doing social management for agents, Instagram is more just to keep top of mind with those people. Same thing with TikTok. I don't think you're going to be like, oh, I saw your TikTok, I'm interested in that home, but maybe. And Pinterest, that's something where you're going to have to be very consistent. And I don't really see people posting more so about just listed. People will usually use Pinterest as a blogging source to get people to follow them. Like I use Pinterest to find ideas for social media posting or articles, or, you look on there for recipes or that kind of thing. So if you're interested in cooking, you might as well brand Pinterest with your business, but maybe you're posting, your recipes on there. So it's not specifically for each platform, maybe doesn't relate to getting new clients, but again, it's about your branding across the platform. So this is an example of someone. I will go to his profile. As you can see, he uses a lot of dark blue, and he has his logo on every single page. And a lot of the posts, he's very clean and simple. Like we were saying, you don't need to overdo it with your templates. As you can see, every single update on a listing is just at the top, and it just says the word with his logo, nothing crazy. Maybe they switch it down to the bottom for a little, maybe they add a price, but really overall, he keeps his page very consistent and as you can see, as there's newer posts like this one, for example, I'd have to log in. This one, for example, they were doing a lot more bolded. And then they moved, oh my gosh, okay. It's fighting me.
There you go.
Then they moved to a little bit smaller posts, I think, just to show more of the house. So his consistency is there though. Even the posts that they do, you know, they're dressed in blue. This background has some blue in it as well as, you know, black and gray. You know, this one was a little extra, but it's good to have a pop on your page as well. Another one.
And then in his actual post is where he's telling the story a little bit. So where he's adding that value that we talked about. And that's where his brand messaging is really coming out. So his brand personality now, I think he said, it's my birthday, but here's a gift for you, just listed this property.
Yeah, Casey, do you want to share your screens? Because
Sure.
I can't click in here.
Sure. You guys see? So this was an example, new to the market today. It's my birthday, but this gift is for you. Run house is a 4,000 blah, blah, blah. There's a square foot center, 4-bedroom, 4.5 bath. So with all of his posts, actually, he does add a little bit of story. So I'm just gonna go into the sold one. Why is it doing that for me too? I don't want to log in. Hang on. I was logged in earlier today. Here we go. So on this one, this was just sold for over asking and for a building busting price per square foot record. A big submarket to pay attention to are condos near colleges where parents would rather form a 4 to 5 year plan around purchasing their kid or student a condo in a nice amenity filled property. So that's where he's posting a little bit of the story and adding his value. So again, on the post itself, on the design itself, it's going to be very clean and simple. Consumers don't really like to read that much, so something to catch their eye, and then if they want to read more, they will. The other post, hang on, or the other person, I should say. Christopher Choki. So this is someone also that has very consistent branding. You see their logo on all their posting, and then their fonts, and they have this little sticker on a lot of their posting or similar fonts on all the designs. I'll click on one here. We can just see what he's.
You can see a lot of their underneath their, you know, every time that they have something in the middle, they use a white background. So even though that seems something that maybe is so simple, you know, keeping that every time you put something on like that, you know, and again, you can always change this maybe per season or per quarter, you can change it. Because as you can see, if you scroll down again, Casey, he was doing gray for a little while.
Yeah.
You know, he was switching it up, maybe playing around to see what works and what's attracting the consumer, you know, using different colors. And now he's started to get more of a consistent feel across the board on all of his postings. But he does put on every update, he does put his logo at the bottom. You can see that's on almost every single post of his. So that's kind of like his consistency across the board. And a lot of emojis.
And a lot of emojis. He's using a lot.
And hashtags. So like we were talking about, like doing all of this can really just catch the eye of the consumer. So even if it might seem pretty simple and kind of like, oh, well, what is that going to do? by having consistency of colors and maybe, again, choosing those few just listed templates or open house templates, like that can help them when they see it without even seeing your name or who it is. They can see that coming across and they
Even-
know this is,
Even
you know,
fonts
this
too.
post.
Yep, the fonts as well. Reese, do you want to pull up the schedule for upcoming
Yep.
October? You want me to pull it up?
I can pull it up. Just finalized it yesterday. Let me make my calendar not so scary first. And again, this is for all 5 offices. So if you have any friends in the other offices that, you know, maybe you think might be interested by this, you can totally do that as well. So next week, it's also on Wednesday and sorry. It's going to be content calendar and social scheduling within Command. So that's going to be how to create these almost, for example, filler posts for in between, you know, and then when you have listings, you also post those. So this is like really about, again, keeping that consistency where if you're going to be posting every Monday, Wednesday, Friday of information, tips, tricks, stats for your consumer, that's what we're going to schedule for the entire month of October. And I have some examples of people who I'm working with in the past and now to show you how we do that. And we'll go into more where we, a little bit where to get content. After that, it'll be on Tuesday because we have our Ridgewood has their team meeting on Wednesday. So on Tuesday, we're going to do branding and consistency across the platform. So really diving more into depth on the consistency from a consumer point of view and how it comes across to them. I know we touched upon it a lot today, but we'll be really focusing on how to and again, we'll show you that in designs, consistency to your consumer, even with that filler postings, not just with your listings, and how to make sure your branding on all your pages have similar consistency of, you know, the information you're giving, everything you're giving to them is consistent from a consumer point of view, then more of a branding point of view. And then the Tuesday after that, we'll be doing where can I find that filler content and also touching upon post scheduling again for that. Post scheduling is huge. That can change your game for having to remember to post because it can seem pretty simple when you put the calendar together, but then you get to that day and it's crazy and you look up and it's 5 p.m. and you haven't posted your post for that day. So those are our social topics for the month of October. And like I said, there are design classes as well. I know Chris is teaching one.
I have one question. Can you help me?
Yep.
I'm in like not in the internet so much, like, you know, what you're showing us and all. Is there any way, like, if I can plan to do that and I can see you one-to-one, you can teach us?
What do you mean? I mean, we go over it every month, so I would just continue coming to the social classes. If you want to hire someone, you can hire the
No,
transaction.
like I want to come to your office. Can you teach me?
So right now, we're not doing in-person appointments.
Uh-huh.
So it would have to be online. But again, we do these classes to teach you guys, you know, how to do it. And like I said, there are design classes. I'm trying to find it for you. If you try it and you come to the classes and you're still not getting it, then we'd be happy to meet with you. But we do recommend coming to the classes first and trying it on your own.
No, like I'm doing it and middle of eat, you know, I missed something and I don't have next step what to do. Then I had to go out, right?
Well, what do you mean go out?
If I'm doing the logo mine and I don't know what one thing in the end what to do. And then I think what to do because I saw the video, but I don't remember.
So
Right.
again, this is going to be posted. So you can definitely go back, but you're welcome to email us and call us as you're doing it. I answer emails all day, you know,
Okay.
answering questions and stuff. So you don't have to like worry about that.
Mhm.
And again, we are going to make a folder for social media and branding classes so that you can go to the BCP YouTube channel and all of our classes will be there.
Thank you.
Yep. I can't seem to find the class, but I remember when I was updating this that Chris was doing a design class. So just watch out for that on the schedule. And we also have other classes too that we added Scott Leroy's marketing's classes in here too to give you guys some more options from different, teacher point of views. So if you have any questions, again, the calendar, if you go on the website for Ridgewood Antennafly, allinkw.com, and you go to training, you can download each individual's if you want the Google Calendar, or you can just see what's going on for the month on the website as well. Crystal, you have a question?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, great, finally you can hear me. I have a quick question, but it's a different question regarding the QR code. My
Okay.
question is not how to make it. I do have a, thank you for Scott Roy. I'm curious, if you scan my QR code, what's gonna happen to you? What do you see there?
So it's whatever link you gave them to create the QR code.
Oh,
So say
you
like
use
some
your-
people will
Your
do,
agent website.
yeah, their website. Some people, Chris and Elise have taught multiple classes on this, and I know Amanda is teaching it again this month, is creating landing pages. And one of those things that you can do is create an open house sign in so that you could have people sign in on their phone. They would scan the QR code, put their information in. And the great thing about that is they'll automatically be added to your database. So there's many things. Some people do the QR code for their app. There's many different things. So whatever link you sent Scott Leroy to make the QR code is what will show up.
so does the QR code need to be changed?
Yep. So
on the
what you want to
different
do,
purposeful?
yeah. So whatever, say you had a listing and you copied and pasted the listing on your website and sent that link to Scott Leroy and said, please create a QR code for me. They would send you back a QR code. And this is for anyone. It's completely free. It's part of the KW support. They will give you that QR code that will have that link. But anytime you need a new QR code, you would just send them the link and they'll create it.
So once the QR code established, does they have a time restriction? Like
Nope.
it's good for a few weeks.
So yep. So that is why you want to send it to Scott Leroy Marketing. A lot of the websites, if you go to like create a QR code, a lot of them won't tell you, but it times out. And I made this mistake with my original transaction coordination business cards. It told me it was free. And then a few months later, I scanned it to show someone and it didn't exist anymore.
30
Oh.
days. Yeah.
Always want to
30
send it to
30
Scott
days.
Leroy.
Oh, okay. How long did they last for?
I don't think it's a time because Scott Leroy is the one that has a subscription to create those QR codes.
Yeah.
So you can definitely ask them, but from what I know, I mean, technically until they cancel that subscription. So
Yeah. I
Great.
believe
My
there is
last question about QR code. If you want to scan QR code, you need to have app, go to app first, right?
nope, you would just open the camera on your
Uh-huh.
phone and you can just usually it might pop up automatically, but if not, you can just tap on your screen and it will do a drop down to the URL and you'll click on that.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah,
I
it
want to see
you used to have to have an app, but now it's just
Yeah.
your camera.
Because I
You
want
choose
to
the camera,
send to
yeah.
myself first,
Yeah.
see what's going on there before I say no.
Yeah, we're bringing back the QR codes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Well, it's because of restaurants. That's the only way you can order in a restaurant these
Yeah.
days.
I was always a fan of a QR code. It makes life easier.
Yeah, yeah.
Good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? If not, we'll let you guys go for the day.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank
For
you
coming.
both.
Take care.
Have a
Bye.
good day.
You too.